Hey y'all, this is Ty with Barking Squirrel Homestead. Just wanted to come out today. It's been a gorgeous day and we've got quite a bit of stuff going on, but wanted to update you a little bit. I still haven't got the metal roof on Doc's house yet, but you can kind of see where it's sitting there. We got it up on blocks so the bottom won't rot out on us, and we're able to mount his bucket over there, his water bucket, so he doesn't knock it over. He's real fond. He's a black lab, so he loves the water, and he's real fond of putting his paws up in his bucket and splashing all his dang water out. So we hung that up there so that he can't do that. But we sorry for the smokiness. We started the fire ring with some bricks that we've got, landscaping blocks. We're gonna find a few more and finish that out. We're gonna go up one more tier with that and put some air holes in it for oxygen for the fire. But we're burning off some old tree limbs that were left, or logs that were left from that pear tree when lightning hit it and knocked it in half. So that's what we're doing. But we also are kind of cleaning this up. We got a local young man coming and helping us out, and we're out here working. And you can see where we've put timbers, railroad ties down, and outlined the bed here. We've laid landscape fabric down, and we're putting black mulch on top of that down here. And then each one of these bins, we've got 6 of these raised bed bins. There's 3 on this side and 3 down on that side. We've got 2 rows of buckets here. There's 14 buckets in this one. There'll be 14 buckets in that one. These buckets are where we're going to plant a lot of our vegetables and stuff. Actually, we're going to do pretty much all potatoes just in this one, and maybe I think some radishes in a couple of the buckets. But there'll be 3 different types of potatoes. And then back there, all of our peppers. We'll have bell peppers, and we're debating whether or not to put our jalapenos in 4 of the buckets up there. We really don't we had a bad problem last year where our jalapenos got tied in with our cucumbers, and it made our cucumbers taste nasty. So we want to make sure the jalapenos aren't near something that they're going to affect. Now, being in a separate bucket, we're not going to have any leaching through soil contact, but I don't know how well that works with bell peppers. So maybe if you guys know, gardening experts know how well that'll work, if we're okay with having 4 jalapeno plants sitting in buckets right next, like within inches of bell pepper plants. So let us know, put that in the comments, let us know. But we're debating, we're just so scared of having jalapenos leach into our other vegetables. We don't want them anywhere near them, and so we're debating whether or not we need to maybe put those in buckets somewhere else, away from the rest of the garden area. But this is what we got going on right now, so we're going to keep working on this. Memory's currently filling up these blue buckets, and then that stack of white buckets next to it, those are going to go in the back. That's where all the peppers are going to go. And then these other ones are going to be our potatoes. And then we've got tomatoes and cucumbers and onions, a couple of different types of onions, a couple of different tomatoes. We're gonna have some okra. We're doing watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew. So all of that. Now, before I get any naysayers, we're not planting them today. Those are our seedlings that we showed you the other day. We'll add some video of that as well. We've got a couple of new trays to do, but by the time we're done, there's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 320 plants that we're going to plant. And we're not doing all of it all at once. We want to stagger that out. We learned a lesson last year with planting everything all at once, and we didn't even do a third of the scale of what we're doing this year, last year, but it was overwhelming when everything came in. And so we're going to kind of stagger things out. We'll plant a few tomato plants, wait 2 or 3 weeks, plant a few more. Same thing with the onions, same thing with the potatoes and the peppers. So we're going to try to stagger them out of 2 or 3 weeks apart so that harvesting is spread out. It also elongates our harvesting time for usage and stuff like that. And so that's what we're going to be doing. Our planning is to do a bunch of canning. We're also planning so much extra because we plan on doing some farmer markets and setting plants out, starter plants, at local farmer markets here in Willard and over in Ash Grove area. So that's our plan. That's what we're doing right now. So I'll give you a little bit of video of the rabbits and of the chickens as well, and then you'll watch us work on this garden as we're doing that. One of the things we're getting to do is those tins that we put in there, actually we took cardboard and laid a good layer of cardboard in the bottom of it. We took some old rotten stumps and tree limbs and stuff and that were piled up right here, laid that down on top, and then we've been mixing. We're doing a mix of garden soil and a mix with manure and peat moss. We put some peat moss down on top of that. We also mixed in where Doc's pen used to be over in that other corner. We scooped up a bunch of the straw that had been left behind along with his manure, where he had been in there for so long, about a year, a little less than a year, before we moved him over here. And so we scooped that up, put that in there on top of that wood and cardboard, put in the peat moss on top of that, and then we mixed in manure and garden soil. And so we're going to let that set while we have our starters inside. And balance out, let it rain, let it soak down, everything compact in there really well. And then we're going to take a digital tester and test the soil to find out what we need to do to amend it, because tomatoes like soil a certain way, strawberries prefer it a certain way, potatoes prefer it a certain way. So we're going to amend the soil based upon what we're planting in that particular bin. So we'll amend it whether we need to put nitrogen in it or we need to put other amendments to the soil. We're going to do that. We're not using any chemical. We're going to do the best we can to stay away from chemicals. We want to use natural things that are already in the earth that God created. And so we're going to seek out sources for amending the soil that will accomplish the effect that we need, but also be natural and non-chemical based. And so if you've got some recommendations on sources or products to use, let us know. I appreciate any advice or comments that you guys can give us on that. And I guess that's it for now. So just stay tuned. You guys can watch what we're doing. Bless y'all. Hey everybody. So say hi, Sarah.
Hello.
You're supposed to say hi, Sarah.
Hey.
Hi, Sarah.
No.
Yeah, that's what you do. Somebody says say hi, Sarah. You say hi, Sarah. So you don't get it. Anyways. All right. Well, we're sitting down and chillaxing because it has been a long day. You guys caught a glimpse of it with us filling these planter beds up, and I had a young man. Just a good kid. I think he's 15. He's got a chicken laying an egg?
No, she's just mad.
She's just mad, huh? It's typical hen.
That's mean.
Anyways, just a good young man. I put a word out saying I needed some help. He showed up, worked his tail off, did everything he was asked, and never complained. Yes, sir, no, sir. Like, just really respectful. So, Lord blessed us with that. Good family is evident by the young man. But anyways, so we got a lot of work done, and I'll walk you over and show you what we've got. We were just sitting here by the fire pit. I'll set my drink down so it don't spill. There we go. We were just sitting here by the fire pit and enjoying a nice toasty fire. And like I said, we're going to put another ring of blocks around that. That's just blocks that we had that were left here at the house when we moved in. So I'm going to turn this camera around and try to walk you through the garden bed and show you what we've got done and what we're still looking at doing. All right, so this is the left side. If you pan over here this way, Sarah's being my camera girl. This is where Doc was before. This fence here, we're actually gonna cut this down and take it out and put in a double gate that we can drive through. That will allow me to get a tractor in here and get a pickup truck through here. And so there's plenty of room. We left this open. We're going to put gravel in here in this back section. But this starts the garden area on this end and goes this way. We haven't figured out exactly what we're planting in each one of these beds yet. We know one bed is going to be all tomatoes. One bed's going to be all cucumbers. We've got a bed, we're going to do an entire bed of strawberries. We're going to do an entire bed of onions, 2 different types of onions. We're going to do some okra, and we got radishes. We'll show you that. You come this way and look. So we're laying black mulch down in this section. We bought 18 bags and it got about half of it, so we need about another 18 bags to finish it out. So we're gonna finish that. We sprayed that back wall along the fence with weed killer. We sprayed the outside of our run here with weed killer along this edge of the outside edge. That way weeds aren't growing up there and we don't have to worry about weed eating. So these first 2 buckets, when it's time, we're gonna fill them up and we'll plant radishes in them. And then over here, we did go ahead and plant potatoes with the weather we've been having, and it's just the right timing for us to go ahead and get started. So we've got 4 buckets that are, 4 buckets are gonna be yellow golds, 4 buckets are gonna be reds, and then we got 4 buckets of baby red and yellow potatoes that we use. We use a lot of babies in creamed potatoes or potato salads, soups, that type of stuff. So 4 buckets of baby potatoes. This row back here we have not planted, so we did plant the potatoes. That's the only thing that's planted so far. But this back here is going to be all our peppers that I was telling you about earlier. So we'll have 4 buckets of jalapenos, and then we got 3 different bell peppers that are going to be planted as well. And like I said, we're contemplating just making this all bell peppers and then doing our jalapenos somewhere else. Here's the rest of our 3 beds where stuff's going to be planted. That far bed is where our strawberries are. We know we're going to put that bed as strawberries. But we haven't figured out one entire bed is going to be carrots, 3 different types of carrots. These licking tubs back here, so we call them, they're licking tubs, they're mineral tubs for like cattle. We call them wicking tubs, actually, because we set these up to where we only have to water them once a week. So whatever we put in those gets watered once a week, because we create a reservoir in the bottom of them that's about 4 to 5 inches deep of water. And so once that's full, the root system will wick up, and we put things like peat moss and whatnot in there, so it wicks the water up to the top. And so we can fill those up with water and not have to worry about them. Even in the hottest part of summer, we don't have to worry about those. So we're going to put those 2 there. We're going to put 2 more like that on that other side over there. We'll put those over there on that side, out of our way. Those are likely what we're going to plant, like green beans, and we're using bush style beans instead of pole beans. That's probably what's going to be planted in some of those. I think we may plant some okra in those as well. Then over here in this section, we're going to take, you see that black tub there, we're going to get some more tubs like it, or like those licking tubs, and we'll put them, we're going to have I think 5 or maybe 6 of them out here in this section. And this is where our melon patch is going to be pretty much. We'll do all of our watermelon and cantaloupe and honeydews, that type of stuff. One of the other things we're going to plant over here on this side is squash. We'll have squash and zucchini in one of these planter beds as well. But we'll cover everything else once we get these tubs in place. We've got to pick up some more tubs, but once we get them in place, we're going to finish out the mulch. So it'll be a total of about 36 bags of mulch is what it's going to take to cover this whole area. So lots and lots to do. We're probably going to put 1 more railroad tie on this side to close this in. We're going to leave that end open and allow the gravel to just kind of mix with the mulch and on that end. And that way, if we need to drive a tractor in to pick up these things later on as we grow and expand, we can get them in there. These, if Sarah backs up, you can see what we built here with these buckets. So these are extremely sturdy, but there's 14 buckets in each one of these, so a lot of weight. Let me show you something about the way we planted the potatoes. So what we did is we did this last year, and the potatoes did extremely well in our tubs, But what we did in these buckets is I only put about 3, maybe 4 inches of dirt in the bottom. Then we put our seedling potatoes in there. And I'll just open up, like pull back the dirt and show you. We put them in there, you can start to see the heads there. We put about 4 seedling potatoes of those baby potatoes in there. And then over here we put like 2 or 3 halves of potatoes down in the bottom. We put about 3 or 4 inches of dirt down in there, and then we put these potato starters down there, and then we put about 3 inches of dirt on top of that. And what's going to happen, that makes the bucket about half full. That's plenty to get it started. What we're going to do is when the shoots get about 3 or 4 inches tall, you can kind of see where my finger, I don't know if Sarah can see that if it's fuzzy or not, but see about where my finger is. When the shoots get up to about that high, about 3 or 4 inches tall, we're going to cover them over with dirt again to about 1 inch or 2 above the shoot. We'll cover that over with dirt because potatoes grow off of the stalk, and as that shoot comes up, that stalk grows, more starters are going to come off of that and grow even more potatoes. And so we're starting in the very bottom. We should fill this entire bucket up with potatoes. So it'll come up about that high, we'll cover it over, and then it'll come up from there. We're not going to add any more after that because this bucket will act as a windbreak for the bottom of the stalks, so that when my stalks get up to about here, Sarah can back up a little bit, she can see. When my stalks should get up to about this high, maybe a little bit taller. This acts as a windbreak, protecting the bottom of the stalk and keeping my stalks from breaking over. So that's the potatoes. Also, once these start to show shoots, before we put the dirt on them, I'm going to add a little fertilizer in there, granule fertilizer, non-chemical, it'll be natural, but we'll add some fertilizer to it. And then we're also going to add in diatomaceous earth. And we do that for one primary reason. It does break down in the soil and adds minerals, nutrients to the soil. But the reason why we use diatomaceous earth is with diatomaceous earth, we don't have to use 7 dust or any kind of a chemical killer for potato bugs. And so we put the diatomaceous earth, we'll put that in the soil, and then we will also sprinkle the leaves. Once the bushes or the stalks start to get up and leaf out, we'll also sprinkle it on the leaves. Diatomaceous earth is it's things like oyster shell or ground up eggshells, and when it's in a powder form, it gets on the exoskeleton of slugs, it gets on the exoskeleton of potato bugs, flies, other larvae and things that grow, and ants, all of those things. It gets on there, and it's like sandpaper. It's gritty, and it causes their shell to cause them extreme pain, and it kills them because they end up curling up and just dying. And so that's at least that's the study and research that I have done and learned about it. So we use diatomaceous earth. It's an organic way of gardening where we don't have to utilize chemicals and things like that. And so that's what we're doing. We'll add a little fertilizer. We'll add some diatomaceous earth when we mix in that soil after the stalks start to get up. And then once they get up higher and leaf out, we'll put that diatomaceous earth on the leaves as well. And we'll do that throughout the summer, every few weeks, just to keep them protected. And we'll do that with all of our plants. We'll sprinkle every one of them and keep them from getting bugs that'll cause us problems. Another thing we're going to do that is new to me, I've never done before. I'll show you whenever we get to that point of planting, but we're not there yet. And I'd have to find the channel. I'll look that up and be able to tell you in my next video, or at least in the video when we do our planting. But I learned from an old farmer who's down south, deep south, homestead or something. I don't know what it is, but something about copper coil rods. You basically take this piece of pure copper, it's 99% copper, and it's got coils in it, but you just stick that down in your planters. So we'll put one in every one of our buckets. We're going to put 2 or 3 in each one of our planter beds. We'll put 1 in each of our tubs. But the copper, for whatever reason, in there keeps slugs away. Slugs don't like copper. I don't understand it. Don't take my word for it. I'm taking his word for it. I did some research, and there's a lot of farmers that swear by it. So I'm going to be safe and just do that, especially in my strawberries, because strawberries attract slugs like crazy. And we had that problem last year. We didn't hardly get any strawberries because we had slugs like crazy that were just just dominating that plant. So in our strawberry bed, which we're doing one whole bed of nothing but strawberry plants because we love strawberries, we're going to put like 3 of those copper coil things in there, and I'll show those to you whenever we do our planting video. I'm going to show you the products that we're using, that we're putting in all of these containers and beds and things. In the buckets themselves, we are only using this. It's a Miracle-Gro potting mix. Okay, you want to make sure that if you're using buckets, you want to use a potting mix. Okay, you're going to have that to be able to retain the moisture and things. It's going to stay loose and loamy. You want that potting mix in there. You don't want soil that's going to pack real tight in this, especially with potatoes. But anything in buckets, you want to use the potting mix. Okay, we're using Miracle-Gro. It's just what it is, and I've got a funny story I'll tell you another time about Miracle-Gro. But that's what we're using in this. Now in the planter beds, we did a mixture. I told you earlier already what we kind of put down as the base and built up to the peat moss. On top, we mixed cow manure. This is timberline soil, cow manure, and compost. So she's zooming in on that. It's a 5-5-5 mix. So we went with just almost kind of a neutral mix, and we will, as I said earlier, we will tailor each one of the beds to whatever's being planted in them and then amend the soil for that. But with that timberline is this garden soil mix as well. Get a bag out here so you can show you. We got this in our local True Value, but it's just a garden soil mix, specifically for vegetable gardens. Now you can do other plants with it, but it is for vegetable gardens and herb gardens, things like that. So that is what we have mixed together to put in with the peat moss on top of the other base that is in there. And so we want to keep it loose. We want some of our vegetables, as many of you know, some of them prefer more of a sandy type soil. Some of them like a loamy type soil. Some of them like something a little more packed. And so, like I said, we are going to amend each one of these specifically for whatever is being planted in them. The only one that won't really be amended other than with nitrates and things is going to be, or nitrogen and stuff, is going to be the buckets. The buckets are getting solely the Miracle-Gro. We'll amend with nutrients as needed per what's going in them. The licking tubs that we're using, that we create into wicking tubs, those will all be the same way as well. We'll set those up, and I will do a video when I build the rest of them, showing you how we build those and what to use for that. But those will get pretty much the same mixture that we put into these planter beds. The one difference will be we will add some potting mix to that. So we're going to add the potting mix to the garden soil and manure in those tubs because we want to keep them a little bit softer as well. We don't want them packing down real tight. We want them a little bit more loamy as well. So that's what we're putting in there. I'm not gonna, I haven't learned how or haven't started doing the links down in the comments and stuff, but if you have questions to any of this, by all means, make a comment, send us a message, whatever, you can ask that. That's where we're going to stop the video today. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, smash that bell, ring that for us so you can get notified when we got new content. We appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, God loves you. I love you. Stay in the Word.